you know the feeling. The lights in the theater dim, the music swells, and you find yourself fighting back tears over people who don't even exist. For years, society claimed that crying in movies was a sign of weakness or emotional instability. But they were wrong. New neuroscience reveals that this reaction isn't a flaw. It is a rare neurological capability belonging to the most resilient people among us. If you are the person who needs a tissue box during a Pixar movie, your brain is wired differently. You possess a high-performance empathy engine that makes you smarter, stronger, and more successful. Many people think a tear is just a tear, but under a microscope, the truth is far more complex. Your body produces 3 distinct types of tears, and the ones you shed during a movie are chemically unique. Basal tears just keep your eyes wet, and reflex tears flush out dust. But emotional tears are a heavy biological cocktail. In the 1980s, biochemist William Frey discovered that these tears contain higher concentrations of proteins and stress hormones like ACTH. The real secret is leucine and kephalin. This is a natural painkiller, an endorphin similar to morphine, that your body releases specifically through emotional crying. When you weep at a film, you aren't breaking down. Your body is actively soothing itself with a potent chemical release that reflex tears lack. To understand why you cry for fictional characters, we have to look at a discovery made in Parma, Italy in the 1990s. Scientists found special cells called mirror neurons that fire not only when we perform an action, but also when we watch someone else perform it. If you see a character on screen stub their toe, your brain activates the same pain centers as if you had stubbed your own. For criers, this system is hyperactive. You are not just watching the movie. Your brain is running a full-scale simulation of the character's emotional state. You are neurologically inhabiting their experience. This isn't being soft. It is a high-level cognitive simulation that requires massive processing power. Your brain bridges the gap between self and other in me's. Neuroeconomist Paul Zak took this research further to identify the specific chemical trigger for narrative empathy. He calls it the moral molecule, oxytocin. In his lab, he showed participants a video about a father and his son who had terminal cancer, finding that the story triggered a massive spike in oxytocin levels in the viewers. The people who released the most oxytocin were more generous with their money in subsequent experiments. If you cry at movies, your brain floods with this bonding hormone. You aren't just sad. You are chemically priming yourself to trust others and build alliances. This reaction is the biological foundation of human civilization, and you have it in abundance. If you are enjoying this topic, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We explore the hidden science of the human mind every single week, and you won't want to miss what is coming next. Now, let's see why this ability makes you stronger rather than weaker. Oxytocin isn't the only player in this game. That same experiment revealed a partner hormone called cortisol. Usually, we think of cortisol as the stress hormone or the bad guy that causes anxiety. In the context of a movie, cortisol acts like a laser beam for your attention. It distresses you just enough to make you watch the narrative closely. When you cry, you experience a mix of cortisol, which focuses your attention, and oxytocin, which creates the empathy. This specific blend allows you to transport into the story. People who don't cry often lack this cortisol spike, so their brains simply don't care enough to focus on the emotional stakes. Your tears prove your ability to sustain deep, focused attention. Psychologists use the term empathic accuracy for the ability to correctly read another person's emotional state. If you can pick up on the subtle emotional cues of a fictional character, such as a glance or a slight tremor in the voice, you almost certainly do this in real life too. This skill correlates strongly with professional success. In 2026, emotional intelligence is valued higher than IQ in many leadership roles. Leaders who can read the room and understand the unsaid emotions of their team are more effective. Your tears in the theater act as a practice run for your real-world social skills. You are training your brain to detect distress and offer support, which makes you an invaluable friend and leader. While Western culture often shames crying, other cultures have recognized its benefits for over a decade. In Japan, there is a practice known as Rui-katsu, which translates literally to tear-seeking. Started around 2013 by Hiroki Terai, these are organized events where people gather specifically to watch sad videos and cry together. It is not about wallowing in misery, but rather stress relief. The idea is that modern life forces us to suppress our emotions, leading to burnout. By scheduling a time to cry at a movie, these participants release pent-up stress in a controlled environment. They leave these sessions feeling lighter and refreshed. You have been doing Rui-katsu naturally, in your living room, without even knowing it had a name. This leads us to a philosophical puzzle, often called the paradox of tragedy. Why do we pay money to be sad? Logic says we should avoid pain, yet we flock to movies like Titanic or The Green Mile. The answer lies in meta-emotions, or how you feel about your feelings. When you cry at a movie, you aren't just feeling sadness, you are feeling moved. There is a profound beauty in witnessing human suffering from a safe distance because it validates your humanity. You feel a sense of relief because you are exercising your emotional range without the real-life consequences of tragedy. It is an emotional workout, and your brain releases dopamine afterwards as a reward for the experience. There is a persistent myth that people who cry are fragile, but the data suggests the exact opposite. Crying is a self-soothing mechanism that regulates your nervous system. When you hold back tears, your body stays in a state of high tension, keeping your heart rate and blood pressure elevated. Letting the tears flow activates the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest mode. Research shows that people who allow themselves to cry recover from emotional events faster than those who suppress them. The criers return to a baseline state of calm much quicker. The person dry-eyed and stoic in the theater isn't stronger. They are just holding on to the stress longer. Evolution doesn't keep traits that don't help us survive. And emotional tears are unique to humans. No other animal cries from emotion. Evolutionary biologists believe tears act as a distinct biological signal. Unlike a scream or a grunt, tears are a silent signal that says you are vulnerable and need support. It lowers aggression in others. When you cry at a movie, you exercise this ancient signaling system. It shows you are capable of being vulnerable, which is the prerequisite for intimacy. People who never cry are often perceived as less trustworthy because they mask their true state. Your tears are a biological white flag that actually draws people closer to you. Psychologists use the term transportation theory to describe what happens when you get lost in a narrative. It is a state where your focus converges completely on the story, and you lose track of the real world. High empathy individuals are better at this. They don't just watch, they travel. This ability to transport links to higher creativity and open-mindedness. When you are willing to suspend your disbelief and emotionally invest in a fictional world, you practice cognitive flexibility. You temporarily adopt a new perspective, a new life, and a new set of feelings. This mental flexibility allows you to solve problems better in your own life because you are used to seeing the world through different eyes. To appreciate your gift, you have to look at its opposite. There is a condition called alexithymia, which translates to no words for emotions. People with this trait struggle to identify what they are feeling. They might feel their heart racing during a sad movie, but interpret it only as a physical symptom, rather than an emotion. They rarely cry because they cannot bridge the gap between the physical sensation and the emotional meaning. Estimates suggest about 10% of the population has this trait. If you cry at a film, you are on the other end of the spectrum. You have high emotional granularity, which is the ability to feel, identify, and process complex emotions instantly. That is a skill, not a weakness. We mentioned the chemicals in tears earlier, but the implications are huge. Emotional tears are arguably a method of physical detoxification. When you are stressed, your body builds up toxins like manganese and stress hormones. If you don't release them, they can contribute to high blood pressure and heart issues. Crying literally pushes these chemicals out of your body. It is an exocrine process, like sweating or exhaling. The phrase "having a good cry" is biologically accurate. You feel better afterwards because you have physically lowered the chemical load of stress in your system. By crying at a movie, you perform preventative maintenance on your own cardiovascular system. Let's return to the neuroeconomist Paul Zak. His experiments showed that oxytocin doesn't just make us generous, it makes us better at sticking together. In our hunter-gatherer days, the lone wolf died, while the tribe survived. The members of the tribe who could empathize with a hurt companion and offer help were the ones who kept the group alive. Your reaction to a sad movie is a modern misfire of this ancient survival mechanism. Your brain is saying that someone is hurting, and you need to care. In a fragmented world where loneliness is common, this instinct to care for even fictional characters acts as the glue that holds society together. There is a downside to this gift. Because your mirror neurons are so active, you are prone to empathy burnout or compassion fatigue. If you feel the pain of every character on screen, you likely feel the pain of every friend and colleague in real life, too. This can be exhausting. It is important for criers to recognize that, while their empathy is a strength, it needs boundaries. You have to recharge. That is why the Rui-katsu method works. It designates a specific time for emotion, rather than letting it overwhelm you constantly. Treat your high empathy like a high-performance sports car. It drives beautifully, but it burns fuel faster than a sedan. You need to refuel. The next time you are in a cinema and feel that lump form in your throat, don't look away. Don't wipe the tear away in shame. That reaction is proof that your brain is functioning at its highest potential. It proves you have the courage to face painful emotions, the intelligence to simulate complex social scenarios, and the biological capacity to bond with others. You are not being overly sensitive. You are demonstrating the very traits that make us human. In a world that is increasingly automated and artificial, your ability to feel deeply is your greatest asset. Crying during movies isn't a glitch. It's a feature of a highly evolved mind. It connects us to our humanity, detoxifies our bodies, and signals a strength that goes far beyond physical toughness. So embrace the tears, as they are a sign that your empathy engine is running perfectly. If you want to understand more about how your brain works and why you do the things you do, make sure to subscribe and join us for the next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.